Hello guys, welcome to my channel. This is the second tutorial in this course, and in this tutorial we are going to write our first C program. Now I have code blocks open here, and the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to close the start here tab, and then I would need an empty file. Now you can have an empty file by pressing the keys Control Shift and N on your keyboard, or you can find an empty file in the news section, in the file option, in the menu that you see on top, right? So I like to use a shortcut that's Control Shift N, and before we start typing in C code in this file, I'm going to save it. And the reason why I'm going to do that is because I would want to use the syntax highlighting and the autocode completion features of the IDE. If you don't know what those things are, then don't worry, you don't have to be concerned. Just save this file before you type in any C code in there, right? So I have a folder on my desktop that's called C program files, and whatever programs I'll be writing in this course, I'll be saving all of them in this folder. Currently it's empty, doesn't have any files, but we're gonna save a file in it very soon. So to do that, you have to press Control S on your keyboard, and code blocks will ask you for a name for the file, and we're gonna call this one hello underscore YouTubers, right? And make sure that you save this file as a C or C++ file, and that's default setting, so you don't have to change anything to have that. And click on save, and you would notice that the name of the file changes from untitled to hello underscore YouTubers with the extension .c. So .c tells you that it's going to be a C file, right? And now we're going to type in our code, and I would not expect you to understand anything that I'm going to do for the next 5 minutes or so, but this program is going to be very basic, very simple. It's just going to have about 5 or 6 lines of code, and it's going to display a string of text on screen, right? But I'm going to use a lot of keywords which would make immediate sense to you. But once I've finished typing in all the code in this program, you can pause the screen and you can note down the code on a piece of paper and then type it in the text editor region of your IDE, and then execute the program and see if you get the same output or not, right? But I'm just going to type in code, and later on, before this tutorial gets over, you'll understand what the significance of each and every line of code in this program is, right? So the first character that I'm going to type in is the hash symbol, right? I'll type it on the first line. The hash symbol, some people also call it the pound symbol, but I like to call it the hash. The next thing that you have to do is type in the keyword include. That's INCLUDE, and then you have to follow that up with the pair of angle brackets. Now these can also be called the less than and the greater than symbols, but I call them angle brackets, and these are also the brackets that you use for your HTML tags, and you can find them easily on your keyboard. Between these angle brackets, you have to type in stdio, follow that up with a full stop or a period, and then the alphabet H. Now std here is short form for standard, IO is short form for input output, and .h here is the extension because this entire thing is a file, it's a header file, right? And on the next line you type in the keyword main, that's MAIN, follow that up with a pair of parentheses, and you will notice that when I type in the opening parentheses, code blocks automatically puts in the closing parentheses for me, and this is the reason why I saved this file as a C file before I started typing in the C code. And it's a very useful feature, and you would love using it. On the next line, on line 3, I am going to type in the opening curly brace character, and when I would type in the opening curly brace, code blocks would automatically get me a closing curly brace. So all these things, the angle brackets or the parentheses or the curly braces, all these things would generally go in pair, right? So yeah, that's it. And we're going to have just one executable statement in this program. As I said, it's going to be very simple. So we have to display a string of text on screen, and we would have to instruct the operating system somehow that we need to do that. So we're going to use a C function for that, and this function is called printf. So that's print and then the alphabet F, follow that up with a pair of parentheses again, but this time within the parentheses you have to type in a pair of double quotes, and again I'll just have to type in one double quotation mark and the other one will automatically be generated for me. Between these double quotation marks, you have to type in the text that you want to see on screen as the output. So I'm going to type in hello space YouTubers, and I'll put an exclamation symbol at the end. and after the closing parentheses for the printf function, I'm going to put a semicolon, and this is necessary. Okay, this is part of C syntax. All executable statements in C have to be terminated with a semicolon. A semicolon is also known as a delimiter, right? So just remember that. And that's it. I'm not going to type in any more code in this program. I'll save this file, and on top you would see an icon that says build and run, and what you want to do now is click on it. And when you would click on it, you would see that a new window would open up, and you would see your output, which is hello YouTubers, for our program. And you would see a little more information: process return 16 exit code, and don't worry about that. And it would also tell you the execution time, which is the time that was taken by the compiler in the operating system to generate the output for you. And it also tells you that if you want to shut this window, then you have to press a key on your keyboard. So I'll press the spacebar to close this window. But if you want to see something else, like instead of hello YouTubers, if you want to see hello world, then all you have to do is what am I doing? Yeah, all you have to do is omit YouTubers and type in world, and click on build and run again. And this time a new window would open up, and you would see hello world instead of hello YouTubers. So it's a very simple program, but there are lots of things in this program which I won't be expecting you to know. So I'm going to go through each element. I'm going to dissect this program to the core and discuss each and everything. So let's start from line 1. You see hash include as the first few characters, and hash include here is a directive to the compiler that if there are things in the program that it doesn't understand, then it has to look for the meanings of those things in the standard input output header file, right? So you can think of stdio.h as a dictionary or a reference book, and just as a translator would use a dictionary to translate stuff from one language to another, the compiler would use the stdio.h header file as a reference book to translate the C code into something that the operating system can understand, right? So when the compiler would start compiling the program, it would come across printf, and it would wonder, hey, what is printf? I haven't ever seen it before, so what is it supposed to do? And it'll search for the meaning of printf in the standard input output header file, and it would understand that, okay, printf is a function that receives a string of text as the argument, and I'm just supposed to print that text on screen, right? So that's the significance of using a header file in your C program. And on line 2, you see the keyword main followed with a pair of parentheses, and main is again a function, and the execution of the program begins here basically. So whatever codes present between the curly braces after main is a code that gets executed first, right? So in this program we just have one statement, and the statement is on line 4, that's printf, and within the parentheses and within double quotation marks you have some text that gets displayed on screen. So this is the only statement that's executed. But if you have more than one function in your C program, if apart from main there are other functions too, then main is the function that gets executed first. So it's something that you'll be able to appreciate and understand better when we discuss functions, which is going to be very late in the course. But for the time being, just know that you have to put main in your C programs, and if you don't do that, then your C programs won't work, right? And you will also notice that the syntax of main and the syntax of printf is pretty similar, because you have the name of the function, and then you have parentheses after the function name, right? And that's true for both main as well as printf. But the difference here is that printf takes an argument, and that's a string of text within double quotation marks, and argument is something that's passed to the function within the parentheses, whereas main for this program does not receive any arguments, though it can, but in this program it does not. So there you go. We've just created our first C program, so congratulations. In the next tutorial we're going to discuss something interesting, and please stick with me in this course and subscribe to my channel in case you haven't already. Thank you so much for watching.